Lights, camera,
Rolling.
action.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand. Wax on, wax off.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hi, I'm Joe, and this is the Filmjoe podcast, where film talk happens. Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Daisy.
And welcome to the podcast where we talk about films, filmmakers, trends, the good, the bad, and the not so bad, all in the spirit and for the love of film. So, films, they're like a buffet of a multitude of genres. Whatever you're in the mood for, there's a plate for you waiting to be devoured by your eyeballs. So, we're talking, that was corny, I know. So this week, we're going to be covering the genre of the week. And what do we got going, Daisy?
Oh, the courtroom. The courtroom dramas.
Woke you up there, didn't I? Okay.
Brain fart. Massive brain fart.
All right. So we're going to be doing courtroom dramas, which are always, they're just so intriguing. They're captivating. They're tense. They're dramatic. They're just one of the best genres, I think, out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You also forgot, sometimes very heartbreaking.
And definitely very heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And but before we continue, and before we go to court, beware that there may be spoilers. So if you haven't seen any of these films, you may want to pause this, watch the movies, and then come on back and join us. Or if not, just join us at your own risk. Either way, it's all good for us, right?
That's right.
All righty. So, you have not seen Terrifier 3 yet, correct?
I have not. Okay, so, as many of you guys know, I recently moved out here to, New York State, and I have no family out here close to me. So I have no one to leave my child with. So we can't, it's not like I could take my daughter to this. She'd be traumatized for life. I'd be a bad mom. So I haven't seen it yet, and I'm dying to freaking see it. Art, he's my boy.
Yeah. It's it's been causing. And definitely, you're right. You don't want to take a kid to see this. It's some pretty fucked up stuff that happens in this.
I wouldn't. She would sleep with me for like the rest of her, her life.
So she's like 21, exactly, and maybe even beyond that. Mm-hmm. But it continues to make a lot of news. Controversy here and there. They even set up a Terrifier 3 complaint hotline.
You're lying.
I shit you not. You call and you complain about what, hey, this movie's this or whatever. So you got that going.
Pussies.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, people. And then you got Art the Clown making appearances all over the place at Spirit Halloweens.
Oh my God. I'd lose my shit.
Oh, it's incredible. So he's making appearances. Actual David Allen Thornton, he's actually making appearances himself. And so you got that going. These reports of people throwing up, walking out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's wild. So you got that, and the fact that the budget was about $2 million to start with.
Wow.
Which is nothing. Now let's be realistic. You got to factor in marketing and distribution. That's a natural fact. You add that into the post-production budget. So let's be realistic. It's about $5 to $6 million. All right. But the initial production budget was only $2 million. The movie in its opening weekend, it opened at $18.5 million.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
It is incredible. And it's on track to clear by the end of this week, at least $30 million worldwide.
Oh my God. I really wish that I could see it in the theater. I really do.
Well, you know what? That's one point I wanted to talk about, was that some people, this movie, either they hate it or they love it. You have your traditionalist You have your avant-garde horror fans. I mean, you got all kinds, and they're all awesome. And so it's a love-hate. Some people love it, hate it. But what I love, regardless, and can't be argued, is that this has become something that's been missing in cinema for the last 10, 15 years.
And in horror.
And in horror,
Yeah.
the event movie. It's,
Mhm.
you go to the theater, it's not just, oh, okay, it's a screening. No, it's an event because everybody's all excited. They're wearing their t-shirts, they're hooting, they're hollering, they're throwing up. It's an event and it's fucking awesome.
It actually reminds me of that scene in remember Scream,
Yes.
where everybody's like all dressed up as Ghostface and stuff, and they're all into it.
Right. And that's something that, and now there are a lot of gimmicky stuff. Some, it's been criticized that they got kind of gimmicky. That William Castle back in the 50s used to do this, with throwing gimmicks out there and so forth. And now these guys are doing it. But you know what? It's working, and it's putting seats, butts in seats in theaters. People are excited to go see this. They're standing in line.
That is awesome.
So it's great, and I love it. Again, regardless if you love the film or not, it's wonderful as a cinephile, as a person who loves to go to the theater and watch movies and have this collective experience with hundreds, if not a couple thousand people. This is beautiful, and this is what cinema and this is what movie going is about. It's an event, and it's fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, once you get it, like I said last week, it should be coming on Screenbox pretty soon, so it'll be available there. But you know what? Have Luna, your daughter, wait for you in the lobby. There you go. That's a safe bet.
Dude, she's 10 for God's sakes.
Dude, you go to the popcorn
That
concession.
uncle.
You go to the popcorn concession chick and go, you know what? Here's $20. Watch my daughter. I'll be right back.
Oh my God. Oh God. That's actually worse than just taking her in there.
Yeah, that's
I might as well just take her with me.
That's trauma on a different level. Oh man. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. It really, really is. And I can't wait. I'm definitely considering watching it again. If not, maybe the first two all over again.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah. Actually I wouldn't mind watching the first two all over again myself.
Yeah. So and what else? What else did I come across? There's a new trailer out for a werewolf film.
Oh, is there?
Yes, it's called Werewolves. And Frank Grillo, he was the star of he came out in I think the second and third the Purge films.
Okay.
And he's this badass dude, right?
Mhm.
And so in this one, he's hunting down werewolves that are infesting the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, there's even a line in the trailer. If you get a chance, check it out. Where he has a fucking Gatling gun and he's staring down these werewolves and he's like, bite this.
Oh my God.
It's fucking awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. My only thing with that is I'm kind of torn. How much CGI is there versus practical in this?
Yeah, because sometimes they kind of overdo it and it's overkill.
Right. And there's some shots that clearly look, practical, but how much of that? So I'm kind of torn. I mean, they're definitely, I'm a werewolf fanatic, film fanatic. So I'm going to check it out for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, because there's not enough werewolf movies out there that are actually worth watching.
Right. Exactly.
Unless you like watching Twilight, that had some really cool looking werewolves.
Hold on, I gotta throw up. Hold on. So yeah. Alrighty. So what do you say? Hey, we got a couple of listener email questions.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
All right. So you want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. So this first one, it comes from Sharissa Howard.
Hey, Sharissa.
Hey, Sharissa. Thank you for sending us a question. And she's out in Ladera Ranch, California.
California.
All right. California. And her question is, how did you put up with Joe's nerdiness growing up?
Wow.
Thank you, Sharissa. Thank you. Yeah. Just straight up call me a nerd, but that's cool. All right.
In all fairness, you are a nerd.
You know what?
You're a huge fucking nerd.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take it. It didn't do much for my dating life when I was in high school, but
No, it didn't. No, it did not. You, oh my God. I remember you always wearing ties all the time.
hey, those knitted ties in the 80s.
Yes,
Well,
the knitted ties. That
yeah,
shit was funny.
I looked cool.
You
So,
thought you looked cool. But anyways, so to answer your question, Sharissa, okay, so there's a 10-year age gap between me and my brother. And yeah, he was hardcore into movies. I remember him having photo albums full of movie clippings from the from movies that just came out. Do you remember
oh,
that?
oh yeah, the movie ads. In fact, I still
Yeah.
I post on Instagram a lot, some old 80s newspaper pages still.
Yeah, you had like about two photo albums. I remember they were blue.
No, it was 3 of them actually.
Holy shit. Well, yeah, and I remember I used to love looking through them and being, that there's a, that age gap. Don't get, I looked up to my brother. Okay? And I was, very much interested in all of these things. Like I say, he had all these movie clippings and he had posters all over his room. He was really, really, really into movies, so much so that, that's something that I grew up with and got into myself. So yeah, it actually didn't bug me as much as you would think. I grew up as a nerd myself.
I
And
infected you.
you infected me. It was yeah, it was catchy. And one memory that really stands out to me the most. And like I said, I think I was about 5 years old, and I walked past his room, and he had this music blaring. Now, when you think of a teenager and having blaring music, you think he's playing some kind of heavy metal or some cool shit. No, no, he was rocking out to the soundtrack of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I remember I walk into the room real quiet and I see him laying down on his bed with his eyes closed, one hand raised in the air as if he is conducting the orchestra. And the look on his face was like he was all into it. Like he was like, yeah, kind of bobbing his head. And you were enraptured. you were totally into it. So
Okay, thank you. Now I'm seriously embarrassed now. Oh my God. Okay, so
so I hope you're happy with my response, Sharissa.
okay. You know what? That fucking album is so underrated in the body of his work. Okay, it's one of his best.
I remember the album cover. It was it was a picture of a road.
Yeah, the road leading up to the Devil's Tower.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh.
Damn, man, you don't have that anymore, huh?
No, I don't. What I do have is the original LP double record of with the soundtrack for Star Wars.
Oh, I remember that too.
Yeah, I still have that with all the paperwork and all the inserts and everything. The outside is kind of battered, but I still have it.
Yeah, I remember I used to like playing with. I used to like listening to the records. My mom and dad gave me their old record player, and I had like a little collection of records that I would play. And I remember I would sneak into your room and take that one, and I would play it.
No wonder I would always find it outside of the sleeves. Okay, now I know.
Trust me.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
All right. So let's go on to our next question. This one is from Sean O'Connor, our good friend over at the Sinful Cuts podcast.
Sean!
What's up, Sean? All right. So his question is, what are your top 3 kids on bikes movies? Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was such a prevalent kind of like thing in 80s films, fantasy, adventure. I got top 3 easily. And the first 2 are definitely obvious.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is definitely E.T. That's number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, I'm going to have to go with Goonies.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic movie. Loved it. Hasn't aged well as far as, it's kind of silly, but I still love it. And it's a great kids on bikes movies. And my third is a little movie that not many people know of. And if you have not seen this, in fact, we're going to cover it somewhere down the line, along the line in this season. Right. A movie called The Monster Squad.
I still have to see that.
This movie is fantastic. I believe it was 1986. Don't quote me, but it's a kids on bike movie, on bikes movie. But group of kids like rejects, and they're nerds, and they're into monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, and so forth. And their little town gets invaded through a portal by Dracula, and he's bringing in all the monsters. Oh,
That sounds cool. All the classic monsters.
all the classic monsters, and it's cute, it's funny, it's exciting, and it's a movie. I believe it was Fred Decker who directed it,
Mhm.
and it's a movie that could easily have gone like the stupid side or just kind of silly.
Oh,
But it was,
definitely.
yeah, it was perfect. I mean, not to talk shit about Joe Dante, whom I love as a director. He did a movie called Explorers. About remember that?
I do, and I actually like that movie.
Yeah, and I saw it. I think it was a couple years ago, and it was a little too silly for me. Not horrible, but it didn't age well, and it didn't kind of hold that childlike,
Yeah.
fantasy to me. But this one, the Monster Squad could have easily have gone that route, but it didn't, and it was fantastic. Great script. So yeah, those are my top three kids on bikes movies from the 80s. Yeah. So again, I can't stress it enough. If you haven't seen it, people, go see this. Find it somewhere, rent it. Don't bootleg. Do not illegally download stuff. That's bad.
Yeah,
but
very bad.
very bad. But definitely check it out. It's a damn good movie. And you know what? We're going to cover it this season for sure. I just love the movie so much.
Awesome. Yeah, I gotta give it a try.
Alrighty, so Sean, I hope I answered your question well. So that's my those are my top three. Alrighty. So what do you say we jump into this week's episode?
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's go to court. And by the way, objection overruled.
Dun dun dun.
Dun! All right. So for this first film, there are three sides to this love story.
I just gotta call the office before they go.
Joe, you're gonna be real proud of me.
I'm leaving you.
Was this some kind of joke?
Did you know that all the best chefs are men?
You dumped some shell in there.
It's all right. You like your French toast crunchy, don't you?
No, Mommy always buys the kind with the orange circles on it.
I want my son.
You can't have them.
What makes you so sure he doesn't want me?
You're late.
I'm not that late, Bill. I'm only 20 minutes.
All the other mothers were there before you.
It will never happen again, okay?
I'm not saying he doesn't need his father, but I really believe he needs me more. I'm his mother.
My wife says that she loves Billy, and I believe she does. But I'd like to know, what law is it that says that a woman is a better parent simply by virtue of her sex?
How does it feel?
Good.
Okay, keep going. Keep it going. Keep it going. That's terrific.
I love you, Billy.
Oh, that's terrific. How do you feel?
Good.
You look great.
After his wife leaves him, a work-obsessed Manhattan advertising executive is forced to learn long-neglected parenting skills. But a heated custody battle over the couple's young son deepens the wounds left by the separation. The film we are talking about is Kramer vs. Kramer from 1979, directed by Robert Benton, and the film stars Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep, Justin Henry, and Jane Alexander. So on a scale of 1 to 10, on the Filmjoe scale, we're going to go with gavels.
All right, sounds appropriate.
All right. So
Yep.
let's get into some little backstory here. So the film is based on Avery Corman's 1977 novel of the same title. So the producer, Stanley R. Jaffe, and writer-director Robert Benson, they read the novel, and they were so moved that they knew they had to get the rights. And so they bought the rights for the film. Dustin Hoffman was the only actor they envisioned for the lead role of Ted Kramer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they had him right off the bat. So at the time, Hoffman was himself going through a divorce. Yeah, and as he stated that he wanted to quit film acting altogether, and return to the stage. And, he had a depression and an overall distaste for Hollywood. So they went with James Caan and they offered him the role, but he turned it down. I don't know. Sonny from The Godfather? I don't think so.
Yeah, he was a little bit much.
Yeah. Now, and as it was, he was concerned that the film would be a flop, so he passed on it.
Oh,
And yeah, again, I don't think he would have been good in it, but so they went with Al Pacino after that, and Al Pacino read the script, and
I could see him in it.
yeah, I think he could have. Hooah! Yeah, he could have done it.
Dork.
It's like Ted, I want a divorce. Hooah!
Oh.
But he definitely felt it wasn't for him either, and they also went with John Voight, and he turned on the role. So eventually, they convinced Hoffman. They went after him again. He was the first one they envisioned for the role. So some time had passed, and at this point, he was already kind of back into the flow of things, and he was reinvigorated for his love of film acting. So he was in. Streep was in. She was initially Meryl Streep. She was cast as Phyllis. The
bestie?
No, the secretary.
Okay. Was that the one that he slept with?
Yes, and you know who that was, right?
That was Joe Beth Williams, wasn't it?
Yeah, from Poltergeist.
Holy.
So she took the role, Joe Beth Williams, that Streep was initially cast for, but eventually she ended up with the lead role, and she was fantastic. I mean,
my God, she was amazing.
Yeah. So finally, the film goes into production, and it was finally released on December 19th, 1979. The film went on to be nominated for 9 Academy Awards, taking home 5. The big 5. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay.
Oh my God. You know what? And I couldn't agree more with those freaking awards.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely... It was just such a subtle script, so emotional, so deep. I mean, there's a lot of themes that really resonate. It'll touch almost anybody, and it's just a beautiful story.
It really is.
So, what were your initial take? Now, have you seen this before?
No, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen neither one of these movies that we're covering today.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of Kramer versus Kramer growing up. I remember the part where he's making the French toast with the little boy.
Oh,
yeah. I remember when he fell off of the jungle gym, but I never got to see the whole movie. And I knew that it was an amazing movie. I knew it was a very gut wrenching, beautiful movie. And yeah, I was right. It was wonderful. I loved it. I love the character development on Ted. He's this big shot, businessman, really doesn't have much time for his family. And, when, his wife leaves, he's stuck with the task of taking care of his kid. And in the beginning, he's not really good at it at all.
Yeah, he has no idea how to be a father.
No, at all. I mean, Meryl Streep's character, she was the nurturer, while he was the breadwinner. So, taking over her role was something totally new to him. Mm-hmm. And I love how he progresses. It starts with him making some hideous freaking French toast and ends with him making the best French toast ever.
Yeah, that's one thing that did stick out to me as well. This bookend sequence, the French toast, and it represented how he became a father. Now, not to say that he was a bad father, because he wasn't. He was just not there per se.
No, he was so busy, bringing in the money for his family that, he even took for granted his wife, and that's another character. A lot of the times, when a parent leaves the picture, they usually villainize that character. And right from the beginning, you see how much it's breaking her heart to come to this decision to leave her family, because she no longer loves her husband. She has no identity. She really feels that she is in no condition to raise this child, and it makes the ultimately hard decision to leave them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not really a bad person. She even, when they're arguing in the hallway, she tells Dustin Hoffman's character, if I go back in there, I may stay there for a couple of years, but I may end up, jumping out of a window.
Right. Yeah, the inevitability of her trajectory. And,
Yeah.
what I really appreciated was that they didn't villain, because she could have easily have been vilified.
Oh, definitely, yes. And I was waiting for that, but it
Hmm.
never got around to that.
Or Dustin Hoffman's character could have been vilified. It's your fault because your wife feels this way. Or, how dare you leave your son or daughter? You don't do it. So it could have went either way. Instead, this comes across as more of a character study of life.
He grew. He
Mm.
actually grew and
Mhm.
realized his shortcomings.
Right, exactly. And that's one thing I loved about the film. The film starts right in the middle of life.
Yeah.
You don't get a setup. You don't get the introductions. They just show up. He comes from work. Hey, babe, I got a raise or I got a promotion. And out of the blue, I want a divorce.
Or I'm leaving you, period. Yeah.
Yeah. That's life. That's how it really is. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like his initial reaction was, no, really, what's going on? And you
Yeah.
try to rationalize and you kind of go into this instantaneous level of denial of, no, you're just overreacting and so forth, without realizing that this issue didn't just rise up today or yesterday. It's been something that has been festering in this, within the relationship between the two of them for years.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, oh my God. And you know what? That little boy should have gotten a freaking award as well.
He was awesome.
Oh my God. He really like grabbed at my heartstrings, where when he's crying for his mom, when he's, acting out, I'm like, holy shit, this kid was amazing.
So yeah, Justin Henry, what an amazing little actor. What I really was blown away with is that they didn't go, he's a smartass.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's feisty, but he's not a little prick that you go, stupid kid, what a no. He comes across like a little bit ahead of his of his age, but also the effect, like the tagline says, this is a love story about that takes place with about three people,
right?
And this does bring into the forefront that divorce also affects children,
and you can he portrays that so beautifully, his acting out, it was the scene with the chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh, that was great. Don't you, and he eats that.
I'm looking at him like, let the fucking kid have his ice cream. Poor thing. Oh my God. But I think that right there was the breaking point for him when he realized how this is affecting his kid.
Right, exactly. Because it's a breaking point. He's losing control of his life, of himself. He lost control of his marriage. Now his own son and his life, his job is going to shit and so forth. And you're right, that was his breaking point, and he just blows up. But he does realize that he needs to get his shit together.
Yeah, and I guess it starts off. He brings out the picture of his mom and puts it right there next to his bed.
Oh, that was beautiful. Pretty much once she left, he went on this mission in the apartment. And he starts boxing up her shoes, her dresses, all of her personal stuff, putting everything away, all of her photographs. And later on, in a later scene, he's going through his son's drawers and he finds a photo of his mom. The kid's mom, his ex-wife. And he realizes, I'm trying to erase this woman from my life, but I can't. I'm trying to erase his mother, and that's just not right. And he puts the photo on the nightstand.
Yeah, he realizes that, it's important for him to still have some kind of relationship with his mom.
And that's what a lot of divorced couples don't have that clarity, in that they fight. They use children as pawns in a divorce.
Oh, big time. They poison their kids' mind against their parents.
Right.
They talk bad. And not once did he ever talk bad about his mother.
Right. In fact, because he still had love for her. And it even comes out there during the courtroom sequence, which the entire courtroom sequences of this film are just, wow. They are emotionally draining. And there's a scene in there where she says that it was her fault. It was her fault.
The prosecutor was asking, was it your fault? Was the failed relationship her fault?
Was she a failure?
Yeah, was she a failure? He looks at her like, no.
And yeah, and
Oh,
you see the tears pouring down her face, and she's like, "Yes, I was," and he's like, "No, you weren't." And man, I mean,
that
the movie is just a booger cry movie overall. I mean, it's
I
just
was a mess. I That whole scene right there and everything following that had me crying.
yeah. Or how about that final scene? Because it ends,
Oh,
because it's like, let's get the story set up. She realizes she's lost herself. She doesn't know who she is. She can't be a good mother. And the best thing for her to do would be to leave and leave her son with her father. And so she ends up leaving for about a year and a half. And
mm,
she
was it
comes
18 months? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yeah, and she goes through some personal growth and realization, and she comes back. She realizes that's my son, which was, and I don't think it was a mistake that they used that terminology,
Mhm.
my son. It's their son,
Exactly.
and she's like, "Well, that's my son. Like that's my pair of shoes. That's my purse."
Yeah, that's
And
not property.
then he goes on his defensive mode. He's like, "How dare you? You leave all this time, yada yada." So they go to court for custody, and the mom wins. Meryl Streep, she wins custody of their son. And God, was that a heartbreaking sequence with the little boy? Because at this
Oh.
point, they developed a relationship that they had never ever had.
Hmm.
Uh, Ted, the dad, he realizes and learns what it is to be a father.
Yep.
Uh, and an incredible character arc that he
Mhm.
goes through of sacrifice, of worry, of so forth, and raising his son. So he becomes a father. I mean, 7 years before that, he quote unquote became a father, but it
No.
wasn't until this event he became a father.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so she comes to pick him up, and everything's already set. They have his stuff packed, and he gets the intercom call. It's his ex-wife, and she's like, "Come down." He goes down, and she gives a speech about what she realizes, she's just tears. She's not crying like woo woo woo, but the tears are just rolling down her face,
Yeah.
and you see the pain and the sadness. God, Meryl Streep was she deserved that Oscar.
Oh,
And
most definitely.
and that line where she says through sobbing, "I came here to take him home, only to realize he's already home."
Oh, it made me cry all over again.
Yeah. I'm
That was
like,
beautiful.
yeah, I'm trying to be all macho and shit watching this. I'm like, yeah, that's heavy. And then she says that line, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was nice.
The only thing that I had a problem with, and maybe I misunderstood the ending because I loved the movie entirely,
Yes.
but it was not clear at the end. Is she giving him up and just that's it, or is she going to be in the child's life? Is she?
Well, that wasn't really
It was
established.
vague,
It was vague, but she did establish earlier that she would be living in New York
right?
and working out of New York. So my guess would be that she would share custody, but he would be living with his dad for the most part. That she
Yeah,
would, and that they would come to an agreement that she would see him on weekends and so forth. But he would be raised by his father. That's what I got.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I just wish that, yeah, she would have been like, yeah, I want to be a part of his life, but I don't want to take him away from you,
Right.
something like that. But I mean, other than that, fucking brilliant. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and another thing I really love, which is a point that you brought up in last week's episode, about how female empowerment is coming at the cost of men. That
Yeah,
men are being trampled upon and made to look stupid, so
yeah.
women can look stronger. This movie came out in 1979, and especially that women were mothers. They had ultimate right, and they were the best parent.
Yeah.
This film challenged the traditional gender role by showing that men can be just as good as women at parenting.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, this movie has definitely aged well. It was ahead of its time.
It was. I mean, and then you got the themes of affirming that self-love is a prerequisite
Yes.
for romantic love and proper parenting.
Yes. And
you know,
and I have to really respect Meryl Streep's character for doing what she did.
oh, it took a lot of strength. It was
Yeah.
not an easy decision.
She knew that she was not she was not capable of being a good parent. And
Right.
she loved her kids so much that, she left. And it's like, oh my God,
Mhm.
that's hard. That's hardcore.
Yeah. And you also got the elements of how the ignorance of working hard and and dedicating your life to your work can actually impact your family and your life in general. I mean, you work to live, you don't live to work, and
Hmm.
especially if you're a parent. But overall, to me, the most beautiful thing was Ted Kramer's journey from absentee father to single dad, and the changes, and his not just changes that he had to make, but he knew that he needed to. It was for him, for himself, for his son. Um, it was just a beautiful, beautiful journey, and I think he was a central focal point of this story. I think they both were, because they both learned about who they were and who
Yeah.
they were, what were they capable of, and just an amazing film. I mean, I seen this back in '70. I saw it in 1980, and
Mhm.
I was blown away back then.
Shit.
And the closest that we get to this now is a movie called Marriage Story.
I was thinking the exact same thing earlier today.
Yeah, and it's a damn good film. Don't get me wrong, but that's been done already, and it was done perfectly with
Hmm.
Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely. I think what was it? The Marriage Story?
Marriage Story. Yes.
I think that one was just that one was really gut wrenching because I think it
Oh,
really got realistic.
oh, it did. I mean, there was a couple scenes in there that had me going, "Oh fuck!" I mean,
Yeah.
you get some deja vu in there. It's heavy duty.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it was a really intense movie, and and I did like the way that it ended with them, co-parenting.
Right.
But this one was just, I don't know. This one was just way sweeter.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't leave me with PTSD because that shit was hardcore.
Yeah, it was a hopeful, sweet ending, and it was just beautiful. And I love the way they didn't give you like, okay, and then give you a montage or like them walking away into the sunset or whatever. The movie just fucking ended.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. With him going upstairs. Oh no, with her.
Yeah, where she gets in the elevator closes, shot of her, shot of him, and then cut to black.
Yeah.
And boom, that's it. And then you got that classical music playing the theme, which was fucking beautiful.
Oh,
Love the
it
theme.
was. It really was. And and the thing is that early on when he's talking with his female best friend,
Played wonderfully by Jane Alexander.
oh, she was amazing.
Mhm.
She kind of is going through her own thing too. Being divorced, and as time progresses, they end up getting together again.
Right.
So I mean, it kind of hints that it's a possibility that one day these two will get back together. But it's you never know.
Right, exactly.
There
Yeah,
there was the possibility because they
yeah,
still loved each other.
yeah, there was still love there, and,
Yeah.
but, God, just a beautiful, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, hopeful, beautiful film
Hmm.
that, they just don't make like that anymore, and let me tell you, we're gonna go to the budget and box office of this, okay?
Hmm.
And to tell you how cinema has changed,
Hmm.
so budget at the time was about $8 million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, which is about $34.7 million in today's money. Box office at the time of release was about 106.2 million. That's $445.6 million today. This movie was a phenomenal hit.
Holy shit.
People dropped their asses in theater seats to see this movie. That's something you don't get nowadays.
Oh, especially, a courtroom drama, if anything, but I think it's probably because, a lot of people can relate. It's
Right.
a very relatable movie.
Right. But now, I mean, the bulk of audiences, they want an axe to the face, or they want a superhero flying through the sky. And that's what sells mostly. They want the fantastical, the incredible, which is still, in my opinion, no matter how fantastical, is still underwhelming by today's, by the standards overall. So, but yeah, it was just incredible. And that's the kind of, I'm telling you, you look back at the box office from 1979, 1980, 1982, 83, and so forth. You have movies like this that were making splashes at the box office.
Mhm.
And now, had Kramer versus Kramer been done today, it would have went straight to, say, Netflix or Amazon or something.
Well, like the Marriage Story.
Like Marriage Story. Marriage Story, fucking 20 years ago, would have been shown theatrically and would have done very, very, very well.
Oh my god, yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was. So let's get into some reviews and scores on this one.
Okay.
All right. So the film received obviously widespread positive critical acclaim. Now, Roger Ebert, our good friend, our legendary film critic, he gave the film 4 out of 4 stars.
Wow.
Yes, and he gave praise to Benson's screenplay and direction. He said his characters aren't just talking to each other. They are revealing things about themselves and can sometimes be seen in the act of learning about their own motives. What makes Kramer versus Kramer such a touching film, we get the feeling at times that personalities are changing and decisions are being made even as we watch them. It's so true. The movie is so multi-layered with the character, the story, the situation is just a beautifully crafted film.
It is.
So IMDb, it's sitting at a 7.8. Metascore, 77. Rotten Tomatoes, critics score 89% with an audience score of 89% as well. Letterboxd, which usually pretty hard, 4 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's give our ratings. You go first. 1 out of 10 gavels.
I was going to say anvils. Okay, gavels. Okay. Well, it was a wonderful movie. We had some great acting, great story development, great character development. Just something that, if you want a good tearjerker, if you want to watch a good tearjerker, this right here is still so relatable in today's standards. Beautiful movie. I loved it. I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Oh, okay. Very solid. I can respect that. That's a good score. To me, it was just a heartbreaking, beautiful film about life, about divorce, about how it affects us all that are involved. This is as near perfect a family drama that I can think of. To me, I'm going to have to give this a solid 10 out of 10 gavels.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful film. So folks, if you have not seen this, please, if you like dramas, you like courtroom dramas, you like great acting, this is a film you have to watch.
Definitely.
Yeah. Alrighty, so what do you say we move on to our next courtroom drama?
Yes.
So, in the heart of the nation's capital, in a courthouse of the United States government, one man will stop at nothing to keep his honor, and one man will stop at nothing to find the truth.
You want to investigate me? Roll the dice and take your chances. I eat breakfast 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me, so don't think for 1 second you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous.
Your men follow orders or people die.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You?
That if this case is handled in the same fast food, slick-ass Persian bazaar manner with which you seem to handle everything else, then something's gonna get missed.
A military lawyer is tasked with defending 2 U.S. Marines charged with murdering a fellow Marine and intends to prove that they were only following their base commander's orders. The film we got here is A Few Good Men from 1992, directed by Rob Reiner. The film stars Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Jack Nicholson, Kevin Bacon, and Kiefer Sutherland. All right.
That's a hell of a cast.
Oh, that's a stacked cast. I mean, yeah. So for this film, we're going to be rating this on the Filmjoe scale of 1 to 10 Marine NCO swords.
Ooh, yes. That's awesome.
All right. So again, this one, wow. Okay, so this one started when screenwriter Aaron Sorkin, he was inspired to write the source play A Few Good Men from a phone conversation that he had with his sister, who was a graduate at Boston University Law. And so she had signed up for a 3-year stint with the U.S. Navy as a JAG, or Judge Advocate General Court, a military attorney. And she said that she was going over to Guantanamo Bay to defend a group of Marines who had nearly killed a fellow Marine in a hazing ordered by his superior officer. And he just thought, it's like, wow, this is fucking amazing. So he got inspired and he started working on the play. And so he wrote much of the story on a cocktail napkin while working as a bartender at the Palace Theater on Broadway, New York. And so shortly after, he was rooming with somebody. They purchased a Macintosh 512K. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he started working on various drafts. And so in 1988, he sold his play as film rights to producer David Brown before it premiered as a play. So right before it premiered, he had already sold the film rights. In a deal that was reportedly well into six figures. So it was obviously a hot script. So, he was familiar with Sorkin's work on the previous one-act play that he did call Hidden in This Picture. And so he was already familiar with him, and that he had a play called A Few Good Men. So he naturally got interested in it. So they went on ahead and got together, and the film went into production in October of 1991, and it opened December 11th, 1992. Now, upon its release, the film would later be criticized by the Marine Corps for its unfavorable depiction of Marine Corps culture. The United States Department of Defense, of the DOD, they stated prior that, hey, you know what? We don't, we're not cool with this.
Wow.
So DOD didn't help with the production. They did help some. They reviewed the drafts, and they wanted some changes here and there. They wanted the JAG to be a Marine instead of a naval officer. And for Markinson, remember Markinson, who was one of the officers who commit suicide.
Oh,
later.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they wanted him not to commit suicide. So Sorkinson and Brown, they stuck by their guns and like, no, you know what? We're not going to compromise our story to make you guys look good.
And that just kind of proves, their depiction in the movie. They're kind of, I don't want to say arrogant, but
cocky.
There you go.
Right. And so, they stuck with their guns. They got very minimal, if no, support by the DOD. And so I got curious about this because I was in the Navy, but the Marine Corps, they're known for being real, what's the word? I mean, we have our own hazing.
Yeah, but they're extreme.
And they are extreme, trust me. So in the Marine Corps, or in this film, they have this thing called a Code Red. And of course, the depiction of the Marines is that they're like machines. They're robots. They're killing machines. They don't add, there's very little of the personality in them, and they just follow orders without question, and they're almost fanatical in their portrayal in this film. So I got curious. I work at a facility which there are a lot of veterans who work there as well, and so these three Marines, three different generations. One who's in his mid to late 20s, the other is mid to late 40s, the other early 60s. All Marines. And so I asked each one of them about this thing called a Code Red, if that's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. And
it's even called the Code Red, right?
And it's called a Code Red. And, and NCOs and even and officers, they pretty much turn a blind eye. They know it occurs. Mm-hmm. They indirectly encourage, discipline within the ranks. That they feel that it builds a more cohesive unit and a tighter brotherhood. Mm-hmm. And so, and I even had the older Marine who really he agreed almost 100% with Jack Nicholson.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he was an old school Marine. And, but the points he made, it kind of validate, what he was saying is, do you want somebody on the wall who's going to be, excuse me, sir, can you not cross over here? Or do you want that guy on the wall to, be a fierce fighting machine and defend our freedoms?
Yeah, true that.
So it's a gray area here and there. I mean, I used to be asked, why do they have to treat you like shit in basic training? Well, they have to. You have to. It's, especially in the Marine Corps, it's a process of it's a deconstruction of who you are, so they can construct who they want you to be. There's a term that we call Marines, we call them jar heads. And that's because, the head, it's like a jar. They twist off the top, remove the brain, and put in the brain that they want, and they build a new Marine.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is. So on one hand, you go, these guys, I mean, what do when we're in trouble or you hear something, hey, call in the Marines, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, they are the best.
Shit.
Yeah. Now, talking to the younger Marine, it's a lot different now. It's kind of frowned upon and they discourage it. And there's a more, I don't know, according to him, it's kind of softer, especially the old guy that I spoke to, the old school guy. He's like, yeah, it's more pussyfied now.
Shit.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. This is not 100%, fiction. This is a lot of truths in here. Now they carry it to the extreme where the guy actually gets killed. And Jack Nicholson's character is a bit over the top, but for the most part, it rings true.
No, and it's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. And it's Jack Nicholson. You can't fucking go wrong with him. So, and as far as the fanaticism, they're like, and that's the point that I was like, I mean, how do you guys feel about being portrayed as fanaticals? And they're like, no, because we are. That's how they train us.
Phew, shit.
Yeah. So it's pretty heavy. So one thing now getting to the story and the characters and the actors, watching this, and you mentioned this before we started recording, Tom Cruise, who we're going to get to in a few minutes later, his later part in this film, he was like Maverick.
He was totally Maverick. Yes, very cocky, very arrogant, didn't take shit seriously, but was still a badass.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, the thing about Caffey's attitude, he just didn't give a shit about anybody or anything. I mean, to him, it was about himself. He knew he was a good attorney. He was badass. And, and I think that was just his way of masking the fact that he was living in the shadow of his father, who had a legacy in the Navy as a JAG as well.
Yeah. The part that stands out to me the most is when they're having that lunch with Jack Nicholson and was it Kiefer Sutherland and, the other gentleman. Right when they're leaving, he asks for the transfer papers.
Oh, God, that was heavy.
And here we have Mr. Arrogance, Mr. Yeah, I got this. Holy shit. He was so intimidated by Jack Nicholson's character.
Yeah, because he asked for these transfer documents and he goes, oh, by the way, I'm going to need those transfer documents. If you can send those over to me. And Nicholson's like, of course. Hold on. Basically what he tells him, you need to turn around, ask me nicely. And he totally gives him this intimidating speech of don't fuck with me, be nice to me, motherfucker, because it was so intense. And so, I mean, I felt the tension and I was, I'm sitting there, I'm scared.
Yeah. And it's like, for sure, they don't like the Navy very much.
No, I get shit from, my Marine Corps buddy at work every single fucking day.
Wow.
But it's a love-hate relationship. I mean, we get along, but they don't like the Navy. They don't, and that tension is also part of their dislike for one another. And the fact that Nicholson's character believes that he is above the law, that he under the law of God and country.
Right.
Yeah. So now one thing that's interesting, Tom Cruise, to him, this is like a game. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to win this case. Or I'm going to lose it. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to go through the motions. But then once he's made aware of the code red, it's like, that's where shit turns around.
Yeah,
you see
his transformation.
Yeah, because it's like, whoa, this shit just got real. And how far of the chain of command does this go? Because it's not just about a couple of PFCs and a Lance Corp or, a Lance Corporal getting into some trouble or breaking the rules. This is going up to a colonel and, and bringing him into the mix. And it's dangerous and he sees the danger. And so that's where he becomes more serious and he starts to turn and become a lot more of a serious attorney and taking this, more seriously.
Yeah, and and it's funny because a lot is at stake. As his colleague, which played by Kevin Bacon, he gives him the heads up. If you try to take these people down and accuse them of what you're trying to accuse them of, you're going to go down.
Yeah, he could be court-martialed by falsely accusing a higher ranking officer, and that's scary. So he's not just, and it's not just a risk of, I may risk losing this case, or risk the freedom of these two Marines who are on trial. He's risking his career. He can get A, disbarred, and B, dishonorable discharge on top of that.
Yes.
So the stakes go up. And, to him, it's like, this is not just a case. This is, for justice and for what's fair. And yeah, I mean, performances, I think is what drives this film for me.
Oh, tell me about it.
Demi Moore was great. She's always been able to bring across this level of strength, but control, and I'm in charge. Don't mess with me. And she was great. Side characters, Kiefer Sutherland was fucking amazing.
Oh, you know what? How many times has he played the villain? And I love him as a villain.
Oh, he's great. He's creepy. And then you got Kevin Bacon, who plays the prosecution attorney, and another great performance. But this whole film pivots on Jack Nicholson. And he does not appear much in the film.
Holy shit, but what he does, his fucking presence is just, it's amazing.
It is incredible. And so, to me, now, Tom Cruise had been doing a few dramas beforehand. He did, Rain Man, The Firm, Born on the 4th of July, and very effective drama he was playing.
Right.
But to me, watching his performance in the courtroom in the famous You Can't Handle the Truth sequence is where Tom Cruise graduated as a full-blown actor.
Oh, he blew me away. He was, oh, wow.
I mean, he held his own against Jack Nicholson. And the scene starts with this. Well, I want this, not this. No, this. Boom, boom, boom. And then it explodes into, what do you want? I want the truth. And then it just explodes with that one line.
The classic line.
You can't handle the truth. Oh, shit. My hairs stood up on end. And I was, fist bumping in the air.
Yes.
I mean, and that's, you watch a scene like that and you go, that's cinema history right there.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the most quoted lines, really. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, God, just a great, great film. And, and so, and aside from that, so you got great performances and then themes that they explore, of the nature of duty and honor and, the consequences of, the unquestioning obedience to authority. How far do you go? I mean, in the military, they tell you to do something, you do it. You take an order, you execute that order without question.
Well, yeah, and, like that guy that guy who was on trial. He basically was doing what he was told to do.
Right. The order came from the top, to execute a code red from an officer. He was told, and as a Marine, as he is structured, as he is trained, as he's constructed, as a Marine, his response is to execute the order without question. And so that's what this does. It explores that. I mean, yeah, we want our Marines to, if they're, their commanding officers on the battlefield say, I need you to go into this, in the middle of the field and there's explosions. I need you to run through there without question. And there's bullets flying and explosions. We want them to do this because that's what, and to save lives and to, protect our freedoms and so forth, to go into harm's way without question. But to what extent? And that's where the gray area lies in this film. The ideas of truth and, should he, be held responsible for Marine Corps, the Marine Corps hazing incident that went wrong? Should he be held responsible for that? Yes and no. The consequences of blind obedience to authority. And I think it was answered really nicely, very well. It was a nice little bow at the end when, the two Marines they're exonerated for the murder, but they are dishonorably discharged in the process.
Right.
And the Lance Corporal, he gets it. And it's like, okay, the other guy, the PFC, he's like, whoa, what happened? What happened?
I felt bad for that guy.
Yeah, he didn't get it. He goes, but we did what we were told. And he, and he breaks it down for me. He said, we're supposed to defend those who cannot defend themselves.
Yeah.
And that's our job. And we failed at that. And it's like, wow.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautifully done. Just an amazing, I loved it. It's a great courtroom drama. I know that it's been criticized for its authenticity in courtroom decorum and procedure, but you know what? It's a fucking movie.
Exactly. Yes. It's meant to entertain.
Right, exactly. And liberties will be taken. I mean, that's a given. So now let's get into the budget and box office on this one. So the budget at the time was about 40 million,
Wow.
which is about 90 million in today's dollars. For a drama, that's pretty hefty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the freaking cast.
I think most of it went there, especially
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Oh,
Bo-
definitely.
yeah. Box office at the time was $243.2 million, which is about $546.6 million today. So again, here we got another movie that's not about special effects. It's not about explosions, not about violence. It's about something real, something true, something that our brain has to chew on and process and makes us think. These films really don't land nowadays, unfortunately.
No, not really. I haven't really seen much of these types of movies lately.
Yeah. So it did very well. Now let's reviews and scores. So the film opened to very favorable reviews. Roger Ebert, he gave this only 2.5 out of 4 stars.
What?
Yeah, he basically said in many ways this is a good film with the potential to be even better than that. The flaws are mostly at the screenplay level. The film doesn't make us work, doesn't allow us to figure out things for ourselves, and is afraid we'll miss things if they're not spelled out for us. Okay. I do get what he's saying there, that, a lot of things are kind of spelled out for us, military jargon or phrases or stuff like that.
Right.
Oh, it's like AWOL. Oh, absent without leave, so forth.
Mhm.
I get that, but you kind of have to, in a way, if you want to reach that general audience.
Exactly.
So you kind of do have to spoon feed the audience with certain things.
I didn't see that as a problem.
No, not at all. I wasn't distracted at it, by that at all. Audience surveyed by CinemaScore gave it an A+. So yeah, IMDb 7.7, Metascore 55, Critics score overall 84%, with an audience score of 89, and Letterboxd 4 stars out of 5.
Shit.
Yeah, so I think Roger Ebert was in the minority of the reviews on that and the responses. So let's go with our ratings on this. For me, I'll go first. It was a solid and impactful film. It had incredible performances and an iconic scene that has become legendary. So for me, this is an 8 out of 10 Marine Corps NCO swords.
Okay, all right, that's pretty good. Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, great performances by Miss Demi Moore and Tom Cruise. I thought they were amazing, and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Very awesome movie, very powerful. Duty and honor. That's what it was about, and it was amazing. I'm gonna give it 8.5.
8.5. All right. Pretty solid score.
Yep.
All right. So there we go with our courtroom dramas. Now for further recommendations, I got a couple that are really, really good. The first one is a movie called Suspect from 1987. It stars Cher, Dennis Quaid, and Liam Neeson.
Okay.
Really good film. Basically, there's like a murder that takes place under a bridge somewhere in the inner city. And there's an old bum, he's under the bridge and he witnesses the whole thing. The trouble is with this murder, it has some political implications in it. And it's an assassination kind of situation.
Right.
He's a witness. So they frame the bum to, that he killed this person.
Right. Okay.
Cher is an attorney hired to defend him. And she finds out that he is not guilty, that he didn't commit murder, and she gets to the middle. She pretty much finds herself in the middle of a conspiracy. Excellent courtroom drama. A lot of fun. And the other one is a classic, 1957. I implore you, please watch this if you have a chance. 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
With Henry Fonda. This is predominantly a single set location movie. It takes place in a jury room for like 98% of the film. Wow. Yeah. It will, by the time it's done, I'd seen it when I was a kid. I recently saw it about a year or so ago. And when it was done, my jaw was on the floor. This was an amazing film. Great performances. Aside from Grapes of Wrath, this was one of Henry Fonda's one of his greatest roles. Incredible.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So those are my two picks.
I got one.
All right. What you got?
A Time to Kill.
Oh, John Grisham.
With
Yes.
Sandra Bullock, Matthew McConaughey, Samuel L. Jackson, Oliver Platt, Kiefer Sutherland, and Donald Sutherland. Fucking
yes,
dude, this one. Amazing movie. It has to do with, racism and God, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, there was some criticism at one point that it was like, oh, it's just another version of To Kill a Mockingbird. But no, you know what? This thing stands on its own. I read the novel, and the novel was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They translated it well to film really effectively, because I'd read several John Grisham novels. I'd read The Client, Pelican Brief, both really excellent books, shitty adaptations.
Right.
This one, A Time to Kill, was an excellent film adaptation. Really good, kept close to the source material and the performances.
Matthew McConaughey. Oh God, this takes place in the South, and it's hot and sweaty over there. Good Lord, there's a shirtless scene of Matthew. Good Lord.
Oh God.
All right.
But it's a damn good film, and a stinky one, because they're all sweaty and stinky. But
he looked
it was
good all
amazing.
sweaty though.
Oh my God. And then you got Samuel Jackson. He almost has a Jack Nicholson moment, not as impactful, but did you kill these people? And he pressed the question, and finally he goes,
I hope they burn in hell, dude.
Oh God, an amazing film. So yeah, that's those really good courtroom dramas. Really good. I recommend that one.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So one thing about the courtroom drama, they've been around for a long time, and it seems to be a genre that's not going away. And it every now and then it peeks its head out and makes a nice appearance and gives us a good film. Unfortunately, now, again, like we talked about earlier, the landscape of, the cinematic landscape, a lot of these films, they don't make it to the big screen. They end up on streaming services, which is a shame. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
But nonetheless, there's still an interest with these films. From To Kill a Mockingbird, 12 Angry Men. My Cousin Vinny was an excellent one.
That one was cool. I like that movie.
Now, did you know that in law school, in some law schools, they actually encourage their students to watch it, or they'll just show it and break it down, that it was a very, very accurate portrayal of courtroom procedure and how to present the case.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a goofy movie, and it's with Joe Pesci,
Marissa Tomei,
and Ralph Macchio.
Yep.
And it's a goofy film, but it is really funny. It's heartfelt, and you wouldn't really think about My Cousin Vinny as a courtroom drama or courtroom film to watch, but it is. It's really good.
It's fun. Yeah.
It's great. Now, and what is it that drives us to these films? I think, it usually they center around the underdog. Justice, the unfairness of a system, and how the righteous prevail, and they represent the underdog in us all, and and of course you get this, it's a great stage for the dramatic oh shit moment that blows your mind, and it's a perfect setting for a dramatic great film. So yeah, I love me a good courtroom drama, and hopefully we get more, and I'm sure we will.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
All right, so quote of the day. What do you got?
The quote of the day. I mean, you can't handle the truth, dude. Okay. I mean, seriously, what other quote is there?
Okay, that's You ignore it would be a crime, and so yeah. I got it. That's a good one. All right, so. Alrighty, so let's start winding this down. What do you say?
All right, yeah, let's do it.
So join us next week for a very special Halloween episode as we welcome back Sean O'Connor of the podcast Sinful Cuts, as he joins us to review and talk about two really awesome Halloween films. Pretty much a hell of a night to party. We got Night of the Demons, and we have Hell Night. So be sure to join us next week for this really cool, fun Halloween special.
That's going to be so awesome. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. So we hope you enjoyed our show and you enjoyed the episode. Thanks again so much for listening. Please help support the podcast by giving us a nice 5-star rating, leave us a good review, or another way to support us is simply to subscribe and or follow us on Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Audible, Boomplay, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Also, don't forget to swing by our Instagram page. We got a lot of cool stuff there, interesting posts, announcements, all kinds of cool stuff. Check us out on TikTok and check out our YouTube channel where we have all of our regular episodes drop as well. All these links, they can be found in the link tree in the show notes below. So make sure you click on that. It's a lot of cool extras, a lot of cool stuff, links to other episodes. So make sure you check it out. You can also contact us directly via email to thefilmjoepod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, get your feedback, and please keep sending in those questions for me, for Daisy, or for both of us. We'd love to get your questions. We're giving a shout out on the episode. So we'd love to hear it. We'd love to get these questions.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So what do you say? With that being said, I'm Joe.
I'm Daisy.
And this is the Filmjoe Podcast, where film talk happens.